Hey, board gamers, BJ from Board Game Gumbo here, back with another episode of Gumbo Live. It's episode number 91, season 5 of Gumbo Live. Gumbo Live, the #1 Facebook Live talk show dedicated to board gaming. Our special guests tonight, Patrick and Eric in the morning. They're here in costume, and we're going to be talking about games, and a Halloween spooktacular Booooodin Bowl. Booooodin Bowl. Can't wait to get to that. Board Game Gumbo is a proud member of Punchboard Media. Hey, check out our other fine members like our friend Ken from Geekcraft, a blog written by Ken Grazier. He's a game demoer from Cleveland who you can see at friendly local game stores and conventions all over the country. He loves talking about games and helping people find the next game they will love. Punchboard Media, where we all bring something to the table. Hit us up on social media and Twitter at Board Game Gumbo, or on Facebook, facebook.com/Board Game Gumbo, and we'll be looking for your questions in the chat crew. But enough blather. Let's get right to our guests. You can see them with their costumes on. Eric Busciemi and Patrick Hillier, welcome to the show, guys.
Hey.
Hello.
All right. So just in case the crowd doesn't know who you guys are, what are your costumes and what are you wearing, Eric?
All right. So this is actually my son's costume. It is a Fortnite character called Marshmallow. So this is actually like a marshmallow with, X's for eyes. And he is a playable character in the game Fortnite, which he is very good at, and I am terrible at.
Patrick, he does look like a marshmallow. Don't you agree?
He certainly does, especially even in person. You haven't met him.
Patrick, I'm
I
going to
look more
guess
like the Stay Puft Marshmallow than this guy, though.
Yeah,
Patrick, I'm going to guess you are a astronaut.
exactly. How did you guess?
Well, he's a space cadet.
No,
sir.
you might be Zorro. That's what I'm guessing.
No, kind of, sort of more of a musketeer-ish sort of thing.
I was thinking Count of Monte Cristo.
Yeah, well, there's no specific character. My wife and I are huge fans of Renaissance fairs. There's a giant one not far from here, and we go every year. We were supposed to go last weekend, but the weather wasn't ideal, and I had everything out. Our box was out with our costumes and everything, so I was able to just grab it and dress up in my usual costume. I wear this every year to that.
Patrick and Eric are our buddies over there on Punchboard Media, and you run a fun little zany radio show you call Patrick and Eric in the Morning. What was the genesis? Are you guys morning zoo fans like I was growing up in college?
You want to take this, Eric?
Yeah, I got this. I got to take this off. It's like smushing my face.
It's Eric Busciemi.
Oh, look at that.
On the cardboard horde.
So
We're staying in costume, by the way.
yeah, no, that's cool. If I had a less constricting costume, it was really smashing my nose. It's meant for a kid, though. So
Yeah.
anyhow, we had originally we were both doing stuff for What Did You Play This Week, but then Brandon, retired that show, and one of our mutual friends, Mason Weaver, was like, "Hey, you guys should just do a show, the two of you, because you're funny when you chat together." And I had mentioned it to him in passing at Origins, and he's like, "Yeah, well, we're not doing What Do You Play This Week. I got some time." And then we didn't really, well, in all honesty, we didn't want to put a whole lot of effort into this. So it was just like, I had just, for whatever reason, thought about the Community television show, the sitcom Community. And
Sure.
in the show, they had the two characters, Troy and Abed, and they had a morning show. And they even had a jingle. It was Troy and Abed in the morning. And I was just like, oh, we could just be, Patrick and Eric in the morning. And that was it. And then I even stole their logo and we just stuck our faces on it. And that's that was their whole branding thing.
I think our method is the least effort.
The least effort.
It's really just an excuse for the two of us to chat about stuff every, 2 weeks or so.
Well, it wouldn't be Halloween without some kind of goblin or gremlin. And right now, B Live is not sending us the comments. So I don't know if you guys are seeing them. I'm not seeing them.
I'm seeing 0 comments.
Well, I'm looking over on Facebook Live, and there's Chris Whitpan checking in. He says, "Who came in as the Hershey bar?" Steve O'Rourke says the marshmallow was roasted there. That is true, Steve. Unfortunately, the name father who produces the show, Steve, I got bad news. We don't have any comments coming to us. So you guys might want to throw up a little Facebook thing on your phone or on the side so that we can see the comments until they start So they start showing them, but we are showing nothing. Oh, that stinks. I hate that. But every once in a while, once a year, Be Live, this happens to us. So we're just going to have to stick with it without it.
All right. So is Gremlins a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie?
It is definitely a Christmas movie.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely one. Chris says this wit is completely wasted. Chris, I'm going to do the best I can. But yes, you're going to have some fun. We're not going to see all the comments. That's going to stink. I have no idea, Steve, if the comments are going to pick up because right now they are not coming up. All right. So Patrick and Eric in the morning, you guys have that little radio jingle at the start. Is that you guys?
What? The music?
The little intro, Patrick and Eric in the morning.
Well, the very, very beginning is actually my friend Jeff. So my friend Jeff.
It didn't sound like one of them.
No. My friend Jeff is actually a professional musician. He was gosh, I've known him since forever, and he was in the military as a band director. He did music for the military, and he's since retired, and he's now continuing to do music. All right, we got comments.
Thank God.
And so he did my little jingle for What Did You Play This Week? And then I asked him to do that when we did ours. So I just, asked him to do a quick little jingle. He also did, the little guitar riff that I use sort of transition between segments.
The little transition. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very professional.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Miklos Fitch from Our Family Plays Games.
And we froze. Look at that. We were waiting for more gremlins. So BJ froze. Just
that
like
is
we
the
expected.
exact position that he mimicked freezing in before the show.
Yeah. There's Chris.
Oh, he's back. BJ is back. He's dancing.
When you
never
see me
seen Indiana Jones do that.
Yeah, when you see me dancing, I'm out of costume.
Oh, we didn't actually hear from BJ. What is your costume, BJ?
I am, as you can tell, I'm Indiana Jones's dog.
We call the dog Indy.
Right.
Junior.
So I had a shirt that kind of looks like one of those traveler type shirts, and then I've got the jacket and I've got the hat. It's actually just like Eric. It's actually my son's costume, except my son is 23, and I don't think yours is 23.
No, mine just turned 7.
Hey, Chris says Christmas all the way, so he agrees with you, Patrick.
Sure.
Eric, Christmas or Halloween?
Gremlins?
Yes.
I've never seen Gremlins.
Ooh, okay. I've only seen it 5 times, so don't worry about that, Eric. Patrick, I saw it in the movie theaters.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah. We're old.
We are definitely old. We are definitely old, and I'm reminded of that every single morning with the Advil. So, all right. So, how often does the show come on? It just kind of pops in my feed.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Usually it's in the morning, although this time it was like 12:30ish or something.
That was a technology error on Patrick's part.
He
meant to schedule it for the next morning, but he just hit, go live or whatever.
Yeah, you can't let soccer get in the way of a good radio show, Eric. Or football. Should I say football or soccer?
All right. No, really. We talked about like low effort. So it's hey, are you available this Saturday? Yeah, I think no, I gotta go play soccer and or whatever. So when we can get together, we do. And then when I feel like editing it, it feels like I feel like editing it. And then it's gotta get and then it's got to get published and turned into the web page, and that happens. And then it eventually gets pushed out. So sometimes that's right away, and sometimes it takes a week. It's very low effort.
So
it's kind of like a surprise for everyone in their podcast feed, like you said, BJ.
It's a treat. It's a treat.
It is definitely a treat.
Sometimes it's a trick.
So Patrick, a little birdie told me that you're feeling some convention burnout, man.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Eric, besides our audio, Eric has pushed me to write more. Even though I'm a horrible writer, Eric is also...
it's good practice for my editing.
Eric's day job.
He does the audio editing for the show, and I do his written editing, so it all works out.
It's a trade-off. Eric is a written editor by his day job, right?
It's true.
And so I'll write things, but I don't write very well, and he'll edit things for me, put in all the commas and the periods. And
Steve says Louisiana Jones, not Indiana Jones.
That's perfect.
That makes sense.
And so my most recent one, he said, why don't you write about the little convention I went to? I went to a little regional convention, and I came home from that thinking, you know what? I'm not getting the excitement out of going to conventions that I used to. I still like going to them, but all I do, if you read the article, it's on Punchboard Media, is I went and all I did is I got together with the Detmers and my son and Bill,
I read it.
on what'd you play this week, and we sat at the same table essentially, and we played games together. I was like, well, I could just do that at my house. It's like, why am I going to conventions to do what I could do other than to get away and have a day of board gaming? It's still nice to get out of the house and do that for a whole day, because normally you wouldn't do that. But other than that, there's no reason to go to a convention and to pay a convention fee and to stay at a hotel and do all that and spend all that kind of money to do that.
I mean, I guess if all the people you're going to play with are local to you, it's not. But I mean, usually when I'm going to conventions, I'm playing with people I don't get to see on the day-to-day or week-to-week. Right.
So like Granite Game Summit in March, I'm still happy to go to that. Me and Eric are saying, are you going to go? Yeah, I'm going to go. All right. So we're both going. And that's one of the few times a year Eric and I get to hang out and see each other for a weekend.
That and Origins.
Yeah. It is twofold for us. We go to the BGG Con over there in Dallas, and I do a lot of gaming with the crew to Gumbo. But here's the reason why. That fabulous library. Same thing at Dice Tower Con. When you have buddies from back home, and we all have pretty good collections, but you can walk into a library and go, oh, wow, let's play that. Yeah. That is pretty enticing. But I will tell you, the thing I like better is seeing my friends on the road, right? Playing a game with Alex Goldsmith or Jeremy Game Geek Ninja or any of the other people that I get to play with out on the time. Carla Kopp from Birmingham. I have so much fun playing with Carla and Nick every convention. And we usually force a party game on her just because we know that she's going to hate it. And she laughs about it and she joins in the fun. Yeah. Because most of the time she's not going to play that. So having that convention thing is a lot of fun. But I noticed that especially this week with post Essen and of course September with post Gen Con, people are talking about their game collections and how the hotness and the FOMO and all that. And you kind of hinted on that in your thing that you're not really that excited about buying all these games anymore. Right. Eric, don't you think Patrick's right about one thing? There's a certain part for almost all of us, not everybody, because Jason from the Dice Tower seems to have an insatiable appetite for games, for buying games. But for most of us, we get to a certain size, and it might be 20, it might be 50, it might be 200, whatever that number is. And then you kind of go, I'm satisfied with kind of what I have. I don't mind playing new games, but maybe you just don't have the envie, as we would say, to buy more games.
Yeah, at some point, it doesn't make sense to like. I have a few hundred games, on 200 or 300, and if I tried to play all of them in a year, I probably would fail. So it's like, why am I adding more to this? So then it also becomes a question of like, which one should I get rid of? So then it becomes like the in and out, and there's the whole collection management, which is just like the meta game of your collection,
Sure. Yeah. Patrick, are you one of those one in, one out person?
Nope. No, I never get rid of anything.
That doesn't shock me, Eric, that he keeps everything. I am limited. I've got a space here, and then I've got the closet downstairs, and I've got to move stuff around or start getting rid of a game. So the nice thing about having BGG, here's the other thing, Patrick. I hate paying the shipping of trading games because you will go broke trading games, Eric. Yes. I'm telling you.
Yes,
you will go broke. And when you have a big convention like BGG, I can sell off 10 games and pay for my hotel room for the entire weekend.
That's a great idea. I did my first math trade this last year at not 2 years ago but then you get more stuff. So I need to just sell stuff.
I've done at Granite Game Summit. I've just brought games with me and just sold them for like $5 or $10 each. Not even to like make a ton of money, but just to get rid of them and not have to ship them and just send them on to a new home and that's nice to do that. I've never done a math trade. That's way too intimidating for me.
Marsha Wells from the Sinlog group says if the movie has a Christmas song, then it can count as a Christmas movie. Therefore, Die Hard's a Christmas movie if you want it to be. We all agree?
He's not wrong.
Mick says Halloween in Louisiana is scary. That is true. Oh, wow. We got a comment coming up you guys haven't seen yet. Cindy Hillier, I don't know if you know her, Patrick, but she says, this is Patrick Hillier's wife, and I am so glad he's finally tired of buying new games. Busted.
Yeah, they're upstairs watching it. My sister-in-law's here. And they thought
Busted.
they'd watch it.
Chris
They
says
just,
once you get over the birthday onslaught, that is true. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not up to buying like 20 games at a con. No, they're one or two here and there.
Mick says Starla slowed me down, but we can't buy everything we want. We're careful in our buying. Mick and Starla just moved to Nebraska, if I remember right. And I'd love to find out from them how they get that collection all the way up there. Because that's one thing I'm scared about. I don't want to sell my house because they don't have to move all these games.
That scares me to death.
Recently did that, and they all wound up in a pod. You know those pod things?
Sure,
Mm-hmm,
sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it was about a dozen like full-size boxes with each box having like, I don't know, 8 or 10 games in it.
You were playing Game Storage Tetris?
Heavy.
Yes.
Game Storage Tetris, says Steve O'Rourke.
Yeah, but
That
you know
hack
what?
and
Like,
stack. I got that game.
They came out. I don't think I really damaged anything. So, and I didn't lose anything. Nothing got damaged. I only moved like across town, but still.
Oh, good. And you ended up with a very nice game room.
I do. I don't have any sort of like small. I mean, I have a space issue, but not for the size of the collection that I have. So that's nice. I don't have to deal with that.
BJ from Board Gumbo. I've got my guests here, Patrick and Eric in the morning, our friends from Punchboard Media. And there's a game we should be talking about here in our spooktacular Gumbo Live. Who's played Horrified? Anybody?
Played
Just
it twice
Patrick?
the last weekend.
Patrick, what do you think of Horrified? Tell us all about it.
Horrified is standard co-op. It's a bit on the light side, very similar to your Pandemic, where players go once, take some of actions, and then the board goes right. So you're playing heroes fighting the universal monsters. So the ones we grew up with, from the 40s movies: Dracula, the Wolfman, the Invisible Man, Frankenstein's monster, and so they each have a separate condition that you have to use. You have to collect tokens and then do a certain action in a certain spot. Like for Dracula, you have to go and destroy his coffins, and then you have to find Dracula and maybe use some garlic or a spike or something to kill him. And for the Wolfman, maybe you go to the lab and you create a potion, and then you use that potion to cure him. And so each of them has, but they're all using the same basic, actions. And so it just mixes and matches the parts depending on the thing. So, but it's a lot of fun. It's super thematic. We are huge Halloween fans around here. We love those movies. We watch them every year. It even has a lot of Easter eggs in it, like these villagers.
I haven't seen one.
Yeah, the villagers pop in. So Wilbur and Chick from Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein, show up, and then like the little girl who's giving Frankenstein flowers shows up, and you really got to kind of know your monster movie trivia to recognize where they're from.
Yeah, Horrified. I've played it twice. I wanted to go through all the different monsters, and I really enjoyed it. I've heard people talk about it being too similar or very similar to Pandemic. The weird thing is I played Ghost Stories for the very first time this weekend, a game I always want to play because I really respect the designer.
Yeah.
I thought that Horrified had a little bit more in line with Ghost Stories than I did Pandemic. I get that it's a cooperative game with the world crashing down, and that's what Pandemic's all about. But it was more in the aspect of saving the villagers and interacting with the different elements. It just seemed to me, I didn't find it a ripoff of any game. There was a bunch of homages to a lot of games, and I really enjoyed the theme.
Oh, I love the theme. I was just saying it's more in the style of Pandemic, since people would be familiar with that, of players taking a turn and then the board taking a turn, that style of cooperative game.
I guess my point was that if somebody out there says, I already have Pandemic, why do I need another version of it? I tell them it's not. It's a different game. It's got different mechanics.
Yeah.
And it's got a really cool theme. And the production is very well done.
It's stellar. The only thing I don't like about it is
I just want to butt in it and just point out, I think you two guys like the theme because you're both ancient.
Because we're old.
Yes. The monsters are a little droopy.
Do you remember being about 7 or 8 and watching late night TV and Boris Karloff was there, or any of those
Oh my
other
God, these were on every Saturday
all the time.
Yeah.
Oh
Ooh.
God, I remember those actors like lampooning themselves in Scooby-Doo episodes when I was a kid.
I totally want to redo this as Scooby-Doo too. I was online the other day looking up for some Scooby-Doo miniatures and thinking this would be great to redo it. Because if you've gone on the Geek, there's like a bunch of fan-made stuff. There's fan-made blobs and the Phantom of the Opera and Children of the Corn and other fan-made monsters.
You redo this with Scooby-Doo theme, and that's about the only way you're going to get me to play it.
All right. Well, I'll get that worked on by March.
That's the deal.
That would be fun. BJ from Board Game Gumbo here. I've got my guests Patrick and Eric in the morning, and we're talking spicy, spooktacular games. And here's one that the crew to Gumbo really enjoys. All of these one box, basically escape room in a box type games. But I have not played this series, the Unlock Adventure series. Eric, you've played it, right?
I have. I've actually played all three of them now. So if you remember, in the US, they were releasing the unlocks one adventure module, whatever you want to call it, at a time.
Squeak and Sausage, all the different ones, right?
Yeah, and you would get one thing. It was like 10 or 12 bucks. You would play it. You were done with it. But in Europe, they were releasing them in like three box sets, like that picture you had up, which had the Sherlock Holmes, the Alice in Wonderland, and the video game theme one.
Is that what that third one is? Because I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, it's called Insert Coin. It's a video. It's like an old school like joystick video game theme game.
Got it.
And this is the first one. They haven't released them in the US as single boxes, but they're using, I guess, the European model of doing them 3-in-1. And I was apprehensive because I'm really hit or miss on unlocks. Some of them I really, really don't like Nautilus traps. I really hated that one.
Yeah, not a good one.
But then some of them I like, but I like to be able to pick and choose when I hear they're good. Like I'll grab that one, or if it's just like I love Sherlock Holmes, so there was no way I was not going to do the Sherlock Holmes one. But I was like, man, I don't want to spend like $35 if like two of them are terrible. And the difference between like a $10 purchase where you're just like, oh, it's $10, who cares? Like that's like a cup of coffee in New York, or $35. Then that's like lunch.
Sure.
Slightly.
So what is the unlock price?
I think this goes for 30 something, but I got it from my local library actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was shocked too. But it turns out, or like a few towns over, one of the guys in my game group works there, and he's actually started cultivating a game library to rent out in the library, which I think is super cool. And then he was like, "Oh yeah, take this out." So I did. So for free, it was awesome. And by the way, all three of them were really good. So I would recommend buying it, even though, like I said, I was apprehensive that there might have been some clunkers in there. So
they are out in North America then.
Yeah, the unlocks were coming out in America in a small box, one at a time. Sure.
Yeah, I own a couple of them. Right.
This one,
like you said, you could pick them up for 10 or 12 bucks at any game store
in North America, but only as the big box set, like they were doing with the other ones in Europe.
Okay.
So this is they shifted instead of doing them one at a time to doing them three at a time. I don't know why that is, and
they're just calling them adventures. So there's no change in the mechanics
too.
There is no. Each one is absolutely individual and separate. There's no change in they don't tie into each other in any way. They're just thrown together in one box and sold as one unit.
Interesting. And you liked all three of them? You're a Sherlock Holmes fan?
I did, and there was some deduction in the Sherlock Holmes one, which was cool. So the Insert Coin, the video game one, was the easiest of the three, and the Alice in Wonderland was the hardest. But it made and it was hard, and some of it didn't make sense. But you know what? You're playing Alice in Wonderland. Like considering the source material, it's supposed to be a little off the wall, right?
Right. So think out of the box.
Exactly. It's a trippy, weird thing. So you just try and think of like trippy, weird, like what would Allison do? In Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah. I get the other ones, but one of the things I liked about the Unlock one is that I bought a couple of them at a game store in Hattiesburg, played them with people, and then you just passed them on. I mean, it was so easy to just put the cards back together, pass them on, and then they come back to me and I pass them on to somebody else. They're very shareable. So between us, especially at a convention, I mean, you can run through a bunch of them at a convention.
This is the same way. These are totally resettable as well. Also, the same way the Deckscape series is. It's another.
I haven't tried the Deckscape series.
Yeah, Eric and I did a show on these
you'll
games.
like Duckscape. Yeah.
What'd you say, Patrick?
I was gonna say Eric and I did a whole show on escape room type games.
Yeah, I will have to check out the Deckscape if there are now more escape room in a box games than I realized. I mean, there's like 7 or 8 or 9 of them out there. So, and more, it seems like more on the way. So that is Unlock, and that is from not Repos. Who is that from? That is from
Space Cowboys.
Space Cowboys. That's right. That is Space Cowboys. BJ from Morgan Gumbo. I've got my guests here, Patrick and Eric, in the morning. Hey, if we're going to talk about Halloween, Patrick, we've got to talk about the herb witches related to Quacks of Quedlinburg, right?
You bet. Hey, Eric,
so
before
you
we
got
jump
to play
into
the
this,
expansion, is that right?
yeah, I was gonna let Eric finish with Steve's question in the chat room.
Oh yeah,
Where's
Steve
your
says,
library?
What town library is that? Our group has some folks in your area, Eric.
It's the Bethpage Library.
Is that near the golf course?
Yeah, probably.
Bethpage Black?
Yeah, it's got to be. There's only one Bethpage on Long Island. I know nothing about golf, but
Hey, that's Jesse checking in. What's up, Jesse? Guests and the chat room. Now, Chris, come on. You can find friends out there. They are out there. One versus many. You just need a couple. Come on, Chris. You have friends here in Punchboard Media. Just find us at the no, and we'll play a one versus many. All right, Patrick, tell us about Quacks at Quedlinburg, one of the hottest designers still out there. And by the way, I saw a picture of him with
Mandy.
Mandy, yes. And he's a lot younger than I expected.
Yes. Yeah, I was
kind of
surprised
expected
too.
a Dr. Knizia looking guy.
Uh-huh.
He looked younger than Eric Busciemi.
oh, that's not hard.
All right. So the Quacks is one of our family favorites, right? It's a push your luck game. You're drawing chits out of a bag and
you said
them
what?
down.
Chits out of a bag? Okay.
Yeah. We're keeping it clean. And trying to keep your potion from exploding. So what this game adds is a fifth player, color is black, and then it adds a couple new potion ingredients. It adds another potion type. What's it called? A wacky weed or local weed. And then it adds a
marijuana.
Yeah. Keeping it clean there. It's just CBD oil. It adds a level 6 pumpkin, which is kind of nice. And then it just adds a whole nother, book to the regular ones. So it gives you another way to use the original tokens that came with the game. Like for example, if you guys both played it.
Yeah. Well, not the expansion.
The original, I meant.
The base game.
Yeah. So, like Mandrake. So the Mandrake, the new Mandrake, so you could take a level 4 Mandrake. What that does is you draw that, and then you draw a new chip and you add it to the level 4 Mandrake. So you could take the level 4 Mandrake and draw the level 6 pumpkin and move your Mandrake 10 with that. So that's really cool. Another thing it adds is, I've never personally done it, but apparently people can get to the end of the pot and max out, their draws. My son's done it. I've just never seen it happen. So they added a pot extension, and there's a way to get to the end of the pot, and then you get more points for filling up the handle of your pot. And then the last thing are the witches, these herb witches. So there's these 3 witches. There's like a gold, a copper, a silver, and a gold witch. And they have multiple versions of those, and you have 1 coin for each of them. And they sort of break the rules. Like if you pay the silver witch her coin, you're allowed to use your potion after you explode.
Oh.
Or if you use your the gold witch, you can all your rubies you get to convert into points this round to buy. So you can get extra money that turn to buy potions, or they just kind of like mix up the game a little bit. Just once, you can use each one once per game.
I like what I'm hearing. The 5th player gives me a little pause, but I do recall from my play that a lot of the play was
all simultaneous.
Yeah,
so I don't think
adding a 5th player wouldn't be that big of a deal, right?
Yeah,
but I like the idea of the extra potions and pumpkins.
They're all mix and match, and you only need to add in the new ingredients if you're run out of the playing with the old ones. And the witches you don't need either. Like the last game I played, we had a new guy learning it, so I I used the new ingredients, but I didn't use the witches because that was kind of new. So
Chris says, "Hey, really like what the herbs bring,
Yeah.
and he likes the special powers the most."
You talking about the witches' powers, or
We'd have to talk to Woodpen about that. I'm
Yeah,
not
I
sure.
guess so.
Sounds like I like the special powers the most. I guess it's the witches.
He probably means the
individual
witches' powers.
characters?
I think that's the most interesting change. The local weed, no one seems to want to buy it. So what the local weed does is it just duplicates the I think it duplicates the chip before it. But if you draw one chip, it becomes a one chip.
And it's also a misdemeanor in Cleveland.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're not careful with that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
the local weed. So yeah, Steve O'Rourke says he really likes quacks. His buddy Kevin has maxed out his pot once. I know Bradley has maxed it out. I've never done that. So
see, we're talking about local weed and pot. We're really getting into trouble now.
It's a clean show. We're gonna fix all.
We're gonna get kicked out. We're gonna get you kicked out of Punchboard Media before we know
this
it.
This will all be fixed in post. I'm gonna send the video file to Eric, and he's gonna clean all this up. Right?
Okay. All right.
I've never done video editing in my life.
That is not my thing either. So that's Quacks of Quedlinburg, the new one. That's the new Herb Witches expansions.
Yes.
From Wolfgang Varsh, who just seems to just keep hitting it out of the park with these things. I really liked Quacks. I really did. And the Tavern game I haven't played yet, but it's got me excited. I want to.
I've heard a lot of
really good.
Yeah.
Who's played it? Eric? Eric has?
Yeah. Taverns of Tiefenthallen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the Taverns game. It's one that I
really
want to play.
German version, Die Tavernen von Tiefenthallen.
That's pretty good. That is pretty
better than the way I say Booooodin, right?
Yes. You're Patrick's still closer than you. You're getting further and further away.
Bodane, right?
No.
Chris says yes, the coin-based powers. So the witches.
He's not a NASCAR driver. We're getting closer though. So BJ from Game Gumbo, I've got my guests here, Patrick and Eric Hillier. Have either one of you got Patrick and Eric in the morning? Sure. That was a strange one. Have either one of you guys played a little tiny game from a small publisher that has kind of flown under the radar lately? Have you guys played Tapestry yet? I always like to bring the games that no one's heard of, just to kind of shock you.
You're a real hipster here.
Yeah, you are.
Have either one of you guys played Tapestry yet?
I've seen it on a table, but no.
I played one game of it at 2 players.
A 2-player? I have not played it at 2, and I'm not that excited about it. How did you do it when you played Tapestry? How did you set it up with 2 players? Did you add in the Shadow Empire or not?
No, I was taught by the person that was playing it. I mean, maybe. I don't think so. I don't remember a Shadow Empire.
Was there just 2 factions on the board then, basically?
Yes.
Okay, good. But that is the way to play it. But one alternate way to play it is to have I think you can have one extra faction on the board. That makes
sense because Stegmeyer likes to do Automa extra, and you can play solo with them. Yeah, that computes. But no, we did not do. We just played the 2-player.
Do you feel like you've dove into it enough to at least give a first impression, or
it was all right?
Yeah.
It was not the worst game I've ever played. It was not the mind-blowing best game I've ever played. I think the people on BGG that are fighting out whether it's 10 stars or 1 star are all hysterical. I thought the 4 advancement tracks were interesting, and I thought the little individual puzzle you have where you're trying to fit those 3-dimensional buildings on your little grid. That little tetromino little thing you're trying to do was interesting. I thought the map in the middle of the game where you're expanding and building on the map, I thought that was lifeless and dull.
Forgettable. Yeah.
Oh, and the Tapestry, top decking the Tapestry cards is just rough.
Yeah.
Some of them are so situational and some of them are so much, I don't want to say they're more, I'm not going to go out and say I played the game once. I don't know if they're balanced, but I could tell you at certain points of the game, some of them are way more useful than other ones.
Sure. So. Yeah, and it is weird that so many people are reporting, and it's not just us. We've had it happen in one of our 2 or 3 plays, but it's a lot of other people. You can top deck at the end just because you advance all the way in and pull an amazing civilization, or you could pull just a dud. You know what I mean? Just different things like that happen with those Tapestry cards where it's just. Just depends on what you draw. Now, admittedly, viticulture is like that, and that's one of the complaints. And yet, I really enjoy viticulture. But viticulture, the base game, is dependent on that card draw a lot. I think it's modified by the Rhine, the visitors from the Rhine Valley, because of the focus on the winemaking, and they seem to spread out some of the great powers. But Tapestry is a game I think that on my first play I was underwhelmed, and on my second play I was satisfied. So that's a good trajectory. I'm playing it again tomorrow night with a buddy of mine, Jeff, who's coming in from Mississippi. He's coming to Gumbo game night. I think it's one of those games that's going to get better and better as we play it, but I don't think the center board is ever really going to get anything more than kind of forgettable. It's just not that big of a deal. I don't know. Maybe there's going to be certain factions. The first play we had military, I was the traders, and the third person was the isolationists. So the board meant nothing. We weren't interacting at all. The military wanted to fight with everybody. Nobody wanted to go near them, Does that make sense?
I wound up playing against a military player when I played, and he didn't do any military. So, I mean, he wasn't being pushed hard enough. And we had a close game, so it's not like he just didn't play well. I mean, it was just, I wound up attacking him more than he attacked me.
I do like the tracks. I sort of like the city part, sort of, because I like tile laying games, so it sort of feels like that a little bit. But again, this is just me, but it just seemed like it needed one more round of streamlining and development to make it into a better game.
Also, I found those giant clay plastic miniatures you were putting on the board would have been better served by
tiles,
by much cheaper tiles.
Yeah,
I could have went in a much smaller box because I wasn't even clear. Like, is this one a square? Is this one a rectangle? Like,
it's weird because I absolutely love my New York 1901 buildings up here. I love playing with those things, but I told my buddies, I was like, these landmark buildings are just driving me crazy, man. I'd much rather have some tiles in them.
I was watching a demo of it at the little con I was at, and the lady describing it said, "Watch out for these because they look really cool, but they don't really do a lot in the game." And
that's accurate.
They're distracting because everyone wants to buy them because they're this giant piece that look, you think that they're really important because of the way they look.
Half of those giant things you can't fit in your grid layout anyway. So
right.
They end up hanging out on the side of the board, which we looked in the rules to make sure is a rule.
That is but then you feel like you're doing it incredibly inefficiently. So it's got that going. Is he frozen? Let's see if we.
Oh, there he's back.
Dance.
Oh, yeah.
If you see the dance, I'm back. So the interactivity wasn't quite there, but at the same time, the thing that I did like, I like the individual parts to it. It's the weird game that's the opposite of where some people say the sum is greater than the parts.
Yep. No.
The parts seem to be greater than the sum in this case.
And they also don't really feel like they're thematically meshed together well. To me,
gosh, you guys sound so excited. I really want to play this game after you've talked about it.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know where you're going with the theme part. Some people are complaining a little bit about how you can get to the printing press, and I'm just making.
No. I mean,
you can get to the printing press.
No, I know what you're going to say, and then you're doing time travel, and
exactly.
You're clicking.
That never bothered me.
Fire. I don't care about that.
I actually think that's fun.
You're doing the one thing on the middle board, you're doing this other thing on the edges of the floorboard, you're doing this other thing on this little thing in front of you, and then you got that off to the side, and then it's like four separate things that don't tie together well for me. It's just a lot.
I'm a visual guy. I really get excited about the look of a game and how it's presented to me. It shouldn't be that way because I love Euros, and they're not all pretty. Castles of Burgundy isn't particularly a pretty game, but I get excited playing it. But in this particular game, my expectation of a Stonemaier game is always going to be, it's going to knock my socks off with the way it looks on the table. And this one doesn't. And that just, for whatever reason, left a bad taste in my mouth.
Just to derail you for a second.
Yeah.
Everyone complained about how Castles of Burgundy looked. This new version they're making makes the other one look great.
It's hard to tell from the pictures, Eric. I mean, it's really hard to tell.
Not. In the same way, my first edition Kingsburg looks even better now that they've remade it with new art. No.
I want to see it in my hands when I look at it at a convention or actually play it, because it can't be that bad. I mean, it can't be. I mean, the pictures don't. Obviously, the pictures don't do it justice, right?
I don't know.
We'll see. I know I'm not rushing out to replace mine.
Mm-hmm.
I've only played it online, so I mean, I'm sorry, I don't own it. I played it physical version. I just don't own it, but I play it more online than I do.
That's
sure
the same. It's because everyone knows it and it's a great game. So yeah, I've played it
a great
online.
game. Yeah, I was hoping for some standout art from Ian O'Toole or Beth Sobel or something like that, and I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to see when it gets there. But yeah, it's sad that a game like Tapestry is going to I don't want to say sour, but I'm just not going to get excited to play the game because of that central board. Because if you look at the picture that I've got, I'm going to solo it up for a second. Everything else from this angle looks like a Stonemaier game, but that central board does not.
The central board looks like a Euro.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't look. It doesn't look. I remember popping it out and just not being excited about the way it looks. But everything else looks great, though.
Can I just say this? I really love the way the corners of the board are rounded like that.
Are you a fan of that?
Yeah, I think it looks great.
That's the only positive thing I've ever heard about this game on any review.
Patrick, I'm gonna tell you, I like the track.
Patrick, you should definitely try it. I'd play.
I will try it. I'm just teasing. I will definitely try it. I love Civ games.
It's just that it's not. Don't go unexpected.
I know that. I know that.
An engine building Euro.
Yeah, that is fair. That is fair. Engine building Euro is a good way to look at it.
Whoa!
And he's totally gone now.
What did I do?
Cool.
I killed him.
Patrick and Eric in the evening.
So what were you going to talk about next?
One less piece of competition. I don't know, but he's got pictures for everything, so I don't want to. There he is.
I have no idea.
Wow.
That's a first on the show. Wow. That has never happened. I actually got kicked out of my own show, and I have no idea why.
Yeah, we totally didn't do that to you intentionally.
That was really strange, but I will take it. Yeah, so we're talking about that Tapestry board. I'm just not that excited about it.
Yeah, we're over it. Move on.
But Patrick, I'll tell you the rest of the game. I want to hear what you have to say after you play it, because I like the individual parts of the game. For the most part, I like the individual parts of the game. It just feels like the sum of it doesn't quite add
big
up.
Dog.
So.
Oh, yeah, that's my dog.
Kevin says Tapestry.
Nice.
Oh man, Patrick and I have been doing this too long.
Nice. Yeah, I'm back there with Pan. All right. Let's see if I got what is next on our list here. I think we covered
10-12.
Yeah, is it time for the Booooodin Bowl?
I think it is time. Steve, are you ready for the Booooodin Bowl?
Canadian Football League draft.
Are you ready for the Booooodin Bowl? Let me pull it up here.
Booooodin.
Yeah, we're going to get it done right here.
And I have no idea what we're doing.
BJ from Board Game Gumbo. I've got my guests here, Patrick and Eric, in the morning, and it's time for a little board game. I mean, if it's a board game show, we should play a game, right, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Let's do it.
Our game tonight, the Booooodin Bowl, presented tonight by our friends at Game Toppers LLC. Upgrade your gaming experience, Patrick and Eric, with Game Toppers LLC. The Booooodin Bowl, simple concept. We're going to change it to the Booooodin Bowl tonight. Under Patrick's suggestion, we're going to have what did you come up with? Normally we do field goals, touchdowns, and interceptions, but you came up with something different, Patrick.
We got full-size candy bars. We've got miniature candy bars.
Okay.
And a rock.
No, not the lady that gives out like the toothpaste or whatever.
Well, or an apple.
I
pennies.
got a rock.
I
will probably saying that a lot. So our guest picker tonight is going to be Steve, the name father. He'll be doing it from the chat show, unless Steve, you're coming up, but I don't see him in the lobby, so I'm assuming he's going to be doing it from the chat. And the way this works is that we're going to do 4 quarters. We'll each pick a game representing the categories that Steve has for us. We've already done that. We got him locked in. And then the chat room is going to try to influence Steve as to how he's going to pick. And we're going to keep it moving. And Steve says he's going to monitor the chat stuff. He'll be in the chat crew and he'll include them in the decisions. Very good, Steve. All right, so let's start with the first one. And Eric, you're going to be up on top for the first one. Games that tricked you. You thought it was one thing, but in actuality, it was something else. You got a game for us?
Oh, do I have a game for us? Heroes Wanted.
Heroes Wanted.
I don't know. This is from Indie Boards and Cards. I don't know how many people are familiar with this.
I am not
seeing it.
Okay, it is a superhero themed game. It is definitely not Mole Madness. It's a superhero themed game that came out not long after Sentinels of the Multiverse, before we got hit with like every Marvel game and every DC game. It was like early in the superhero board gaming, thing. And so like the picture, go back to the picture where it's the top half of the guy and the bottom half of the guy. Can you do that? Yeah. I'm just going to tell you how to run my show now.
Sure, yeah.
So you see,
Live, starring Eric Busciemi.
You get to pick your character, and look, the top half is one thing, and you get to like mash up your own character. You're making your own superhero.
So these are two different cards.
Yeah, and you get to make they get their own like unique name by mashing the cards together, and like you see like the cartoony superhero art. So like you're getting a vibe. Like, what are you feeling from this? Right? Like this is going to be like a fun superhero game, right?
Sure.
A little goofy, right? It is the driest Euro game I have ever played in my life.
Oh, Steve, I don't think he's selling it, man.
No, it tricked me.
It does look like Stephen Killer. I like that.
I have never had I have never expected one thing from a game and gotten the exact opposite more than playing Heroes Wanted. And so you're trying to like impress the superheroes the most to like join the superhero league or something like that. And the first scenario, you go out and you're like stopping people from throwing out litter. That's the epic
Bad
superhero.
What's the deal with the fig leaf? I saw one of the cards that I didn't use because, Patrick, this is a family-friendly show. Yes. But there was one with a fig leaf. What's going on with that guy?
I got nothing for you. I don't even know.
All right, so that's Eric's choice. It's Heroes Wanted from Indie Boards and Cards. And Patrick, you brought us something ridiculous.
Now for something completely different.
Yeah.
I want to know
what the heck is Electronic Mall Madness?
So my buddy Carl and Scott started a flip the table inspired convention called KitchCon, which we hold at a game store, and we dig out dusty old weird games that no one plays anymore, and we play them for a Saturday afternoon. And this year we played Electronic Mall Madness, and it's got teenage girls on the cover, and you play a teenage girl and you get a little credit card, and it's shopping mall themed. And I just went into this going, what is this going to be about? I had no idea. And there's actually a game here. I was really surprised. I mean, you still have to go to the store and you got to buy, you buy jewelry, or you might go and buy makeup or whatever but you put your credit card in, you push a button and it says, go to the space, and you count squares and you move that many spaces to the different spaces around the perimeter of the different stores. But there's a little bit of strategy, and you run out of money. You got to go back to the ATM. You put your card in, you get a certain amount of money. You got to make sure you don't run out of money. Some of the stores have sales, so you have to look at where the sales are and maybe plot out your movement based on, okay, if I go here and this store has a sale and I go to this other store, and you're thinking strategy. I just didn't think that this game from the 80s would have strategy, and we'd actually be thinking about it. And of course, and then when you got to race towards the exit, and of course 2 or 3 people ended about the same time, and we're all racing for the exits to get out and actually win at the same time. It was a lot of fun. I was really surprised.
At any time, does a group of teenagers have to face a gargantuan alien life force that's attacking them after playing D&D in the 80s. Does that ever happen?
That does not happen.
Because
But
that I would enjoy, Eric.
I
Now
have
that's the
heard of
game I
people
would play.
combining this with like Zombicide and doing like zombie mall madness. But I've not, we just played the original game.
I want to hide behind the Corn Dog 7, and I want the alien to try to, find us inside the mall.
I just want to know how much local weed Patrick and Carl had if they thought this was a high strategy game. It's a roll and move game where you're buying earrings from.
All right. Come on, we're all of the games are roll and moves, right? So this is all on that level.
Eric, he's selling it.
You picked this game, and I'm just tearing them down. That's all.
I don't know if I'm buying it, but he's selling it.
It was a darn good time. I would love to have a copy.
Local weed.
I'm going to go with Tapestry, I think, for my choice. Since no, that would have been a better choice.
The photo up.
Yeah, that would have been a better choice, though, Tapestry, because it's sold as a Civ game, but it's a bait and switch there.
Yep.
No, I went with Warhammer's Underworld Shadespire. I do not play miniature games, 40K, tactical, anything like that. And a buddy of mine said, hey, you like deck builders, you like playing card play, you like tactical games, you're gonna like this. I'm like, there's just no way I'm gonna like this. I have played this 9 or 10 times since he's got it. And he's got almost all of the Shadespire stuff. I don't collect minis, I don't paint minis, I don't any of that stuff, but I love Shadespire. And here's why. Because for a person like me, there's no rulers. It's just hex based.
Yep.
It's all card play. So it's sort of like playing Memoir 44, which I loved, but just with this cool 40K, not 40K. It's the Age of Sigmar type theme, but I really enjoyed it. It looks like on a box one thing, but when you open it up and you play it, it's an easy to get into miniature skirmish game. That's all about card play and not about collecting a billion different minis and breaking out the rulers and all that other stuff. Nothing against those. Hey, I'm actually not dogging those people. I'm not dogging those people. I'm just saying that's not me. That's not the kind of thing I want to do. I want tactical games for dummies like Memoir 44, right? And this one I found even easier to play because
because
you don't need an internet connection.
Yes, apparently. It doesn't have an app or anything like that.
And Shadespire doesn't have that. You just have your card play, you've got your minis, and you attack them. So that is what I have. So I think it's going to be up to the chat there. Yeah, I like Steve's comment. In the mall, Stranger Things engraved.
That would be good.
That is not bad at all. All right, so while we're waiting for the first quarter, Patrick, what do you think of the three?
How do you not vote for your own?
No, you not for your own. Out of the other two, what do you think?
Well, Eric's game sounds horrible.
Hey, it's a trick. It's not.
It was
not
good trick.
Best game ever.
Yeah. It did look like a cool game that I wanted to try. So he did get tricked.
See, you're welcome.
Eric, if you weren't voting for yourself,
thank you for trying.
What do you think of the other two?
Oh, I've played Electronic Mall Madness, and I'm gonna vote for yours, BJ.
There it is. All right. I just want to get one vote.
Eric hates everything that I play. So
no, I didn't hate it. I just didn't see the strategy you're talking about. Flash sale on cosmetics.
Oh, Luke's got a vote from All Madness.
All right,
so we got at least
Luke.
one.
Luke's dead to me.
Yeah, he's dead to you. He's a fellow New Yorker. Come on, man.
I know.
Come on.
I may actually go to a game night with him and Steve next month. We'll see. Hopefully.
Hilarious.
Oh, that would be fun. That would be fun. All right.
I'll mail you guys a copy of Mall Madness.
Let me see if I can get to the next one. All right. While Steve's voting, let's get to that second quarter, and then Steve will give us the votes. But we're going to move on to Patrick. And Patrick, we're talking about games that are your treat, a short, sweet bite of candy. And you've got a game that I'm going to tell you, Eric, I really like this one. This is one of my favorite games of all time. Patrick, tell us about your game.
All right. This game, I think this is one of the games I consider perfect, right? There are cards numbered 3 through 33. You get 11 chips, and one's put out in front of you, and you just have to say you want it, or you say no thanks. And if you don't want it, you put a chip on it, and you pass it to the next guy. And if he doesn't want it, he says no thanks, and he puts a chip on it. And then it might come back to you with a bunch of chips on it, and all of a sudden you might want it because If you take a card, it's negative, and you're going for golf scoring on this one. You don't want any cards.
See, Eric, golf scoring.
Yeah, and
you don't always want the highest score in every
right.
game, Eric.
The little
no thanks.
The emergent play here, and we're using fancy game speak, right? Is say I got the 27 in front of me and I kept it. If I get the 26, that slips underneath the 27, and that's suddenly a valuable card to me. But Eric doesn't want it because that's still a bad card. So I might pass that around 2-3 times to get a big old pile of chips on it. But somebody might take it at that point just to get all those chips, because the chips offset your negative score. So that's where I think the really kind of psychological part of the game comes in. Should I send it around, or should I take it the first time it comes back to me? Or do I want to get more chips? Because if you run out of chips, you're going to get stuck with a 35 or something like that. So, for as simple as it is, it's some cards and some chips. There's just a lot of fun interaction that happens in this game.
And just remember, if you're thinking of voting for Patrick, no thanks.
There's a lot of great dumb jokes that come out of this game.
You think?
All right, Pat. Eric, I'm trying to get the picture of yours. I'll just take a second trying to find it, because I actually played yours. So if I can find it. Oh, killing me. Where is it? Got it. All right. So we've got a couple of comments here. Jeff says 2 out of 3 have played Mall Madness. Has that ever happened before? No. And that may never happen again. But Steve's calling for Mall Madness, and congratulations. It looks like I got a rock. But Patrick got the full size candy, and Eric, you got the little fun size, bite size candy.
I am fun size. It's true.
So you'll take that. All right, Eric, your treat is next, and it looks like a game I actually got to play with Alex Goldsmith this summer at Dice Tower Con. Fantasy Realms, and I've got some thoughts, but go ahead.
I'm familiar with this.
All right. So first of all, the graphic design, the art on it looks a little dated. You may look at it and you're not super impressed with it, but the game is awesome. And the game is awesome because it's rummy. And everyone knows how to play rummy. But it's rummy with a deck of completely unique cards that all have game-breaking powers.
Mm-hmm.
And you can shuffle it up, you could deal it out, and you can play it in like 15 minutes. I have taught it to my parents, aunts, and uncles, kids, and it's so much fun to play. And like I said, you could play it with anyone, and it plays quick, and it's super portable. And I think it's flown way under the radar. And what are your thoughts on it, BJ?
Yeah, so Fantasy Realms, maybe the most broken game I've ever seen. Now, when I say broken, I mean just ridiculous cards with ridiculous powers, and I have no idea who's going to win until the very end, because somebody pulls out 150 billion point card that you weren't expecting.
Well, now we found who's bad at the game.
Yeah, I was really, really bad at this game. I'm butthurt about this game. Alex told me before, he's like, look, you're not really going to know what the scores are to end. And he was not kidding, man. It was just ridiculously overpowered.
It's so much fun trying to fish for the best combo with all the stuff going on. And sometimes you miss out by one card because the game ends right before you do it. But it's so great. And you know what? You didn't do well. You shuffle up. You play again.
Maybe, but I'm calling shenanigans on this game. The artwork is just the artwork. Let me tell you what, Eric, 1987 is going to be a great year for Fantasy Realms because the artwork is just.
I led with that. You can't insult the game with something I led with its downside. I mean, look, it's not. It doesn't have beautiful pictures of a salad on it.
No. So, and we're going to get to that. Yeah, and that is my choice. If we're going to talk about a short, sweet bite of candy that is absolutely sweeping the nation, we're talking point salad. You can teach anybody you want. We played it at game night. We played it at family nights. We played it at conventions. It's super portable. You stuff it in one of these little deck boxes. You put the instructions folded in half and stick it in there. And then you wonder why AG gave you this big box for it, because that's all it took is this little tiny box. And
you have something for Mason to complain about.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah.
But point salad I'm just so easy to teach and so fun. And unlike Eric's game, you actually know where you are in the game going to the end. You kind of have an idea. You have an idea.
What fun is that? Who doesn't like combo wombos?
Yeah, I will tell you, yours is combolicious. Mine is not necessarily combolicious, but I love the cool thing about point salad is the flipping mechanic, that you can always just flip that card over in case you can kind of shoot for the moon with one of your cards, and then if you really need to, when everybody else said, "Oh, he doesn't have enough carrots," flip it over, and now you've got the carrots you need to win. So that's my throwing out there in the chat crew. I know the chat crew has played point salad. I think point salad.
Oh, you're pandering to the audience.
I'm absolutely pandering to the chat crew.
He needs points. He only got a rock last turn. So
I got a rock last time. All right. So the score right now is Patrick with a full size 7, Eric with a fun size 3. BJ's got a rock. We're in the second quarter, working on those treats, and I will get that third quarter set up. Look, they're already coming in. Mick says it's a family favorite. Marshall Wells says he needs. Notice he doesn't say want or desires. He needs to try point salad. That's what I'm going for. And it's a good game to replace those games like Fuji Flush or any one of those ones that you can just break out on the table real quick. All right, so let me get that picture coming up because it'll be my turn to go first. And I've got something at halftime. We're going to go with the games that scared you off, games that you didn't play for a long time thinking you wouldn't like it, but all of a sudden you played it and you liked it, right? I think that's what Steve was going for with this category.
Yeah.
Okay. I went with a game that I did not think I would like. Mansions of Madness, 2nd edition. I am not a Cthulhu guy. It's just not, some people don't like zombies. Some people don't like fantasy. Cthulhu doesn't mean anything to me because I didn't really play that style of adventure when they had the Cthulhu RPG, and I didn't read any of the books, so it didn't really mean anything to me. The mythos doesn't mean anything to me, so I wasn't that excited about it. The LOTR version and the Star.
Yeah, that's exactly what.
So BJ's forfeiting. Okay, moving along.
Holy cow, man! What an awesome experience! I really enjoyed the thematic setting of the game, the mystery as you're exploring the little mansion. I was probably the weakest character out of the 3. They were dragging me around, but I love the way that you can upgrade your characters, and I love the way the app made the game experience seamless. I still felt like, by the way, I didn't feel like I was playing a video game. I still felt like I was playing a board game, but I just had this person over my shoulder that was running everything for me. It was almost like having a GM there. So yeah, Mansions of Madness, that is my call. So what are the votes here? Steve says, I avoid the rock this time. I get the full size candy. Patrick gets the fun size. And Eric?
I just feel bad for Fantasy Realms. I don't care about my 0 points. I just feel bad that Fantasy Realms is getting no respect.
Hey, our friend Chuck Yeager.
It's the danger field of small box games.
Chuck Yeager, we were just talking about a game you like, Point Salad. So hopefully you voted for that. Chuck Yeager runs the Gateway and Filler Games group there on Facebook. If you haven't checked it out, it is an awesome one.
I bet he likes Fantasy Realms.
Chuck, I think really enjoys Point Salad, so he would have voted there. He posts about it all the time. Chris says I hate to go with Patrick again, but no thanks did the same thing to me. And Marshall Wells said Fantasy Realm. Marshall, I'm not going to forget that. All right, so that was mine. That is Mansions of Madness. We're up to Eric now. Eric, you've got a game for us that scared you off that you didn't play for a long time?
I do. So the game is Glory to Rome. So
not an easy one to find a picture for, by the way.
Really?
I mean, which version, right?
Oh, well, okay, that's fair.
Oh, jeez.
So I went with one. I stole one from Patrick Hillier.
I was going to say I'm teaching Derek.
I just
Derek
stole
Davis, isn't that? So anyway, this is a card game, and it's supposed to be super complex and like mind bending and complicated. And then on top of that, This game has baggage. This game had a Kickstarter, and that there was problems with that, and there's different editions, and it's impossible to find, and the creator is never going to create it again. You can't get it. People are like making bootleg copies of it. Then the designer came out and put out Matainai because he can't do Glory to Rome or whatever. So I was like, do you even want to like get into this because of that? And then if I like it, I can't get it. So there was like a lot of reasons to be scared off by this game. But then, after hearing about it so much, I asked Patrick to teach it to me, and he brought it out to Origins. And you know what it is? It's a card game. It is not all that intimidating at all, and it's like a set collecting, and it's another one with some combo wombo and absolutely bonkers scoring stuff in it. But it's not that heavy. It's not that hard to learn.
I think he had a really good.
I'm not giving Patrick any credit for teaching. I mean, clearly, if he thinks electronic mole madness is difficult, he can't be the Rodney Smith or Paul Grogan of teaching Glory to Rome. But yeah,
any rebuttal there, Patrick?
Oh no.
No rebuttal.
I'm not going to give away points.
Oh, that's true.
It is my favorite game. It's right up there. I don't know. It's tied with El Grande as my favorite probably games to play at cons and things.
The big and the beige.
Yep.
Not bad at all. That is Carl Chudik's Glory to Rome.
Correct. Carl Chudik.
I have not played it myself, so I don't have any comment.
Well, don't be intimidated by it, is my comment.
So, Patrick, you have one that's interesting to me. Pret-a-Porter.
Yes.
Ready to wear.
I played it years ago, not the new version. My friend Jimmy is a heavy gamer, and I got turned off it for two reasons. Jimmy tends to play heavier games. Jimmy's our 18XX group runner, and other games like that. So he just tends to play heavier games, and this had a reputation of being a heavier game, and I was a little scared of that. And then of course, the theme is fashion. And I wasn't turned off on it, but I just also wasn't interested in it. And so just, never really just gravitated towards it. And so eventually we got into playing it, and it was a pretty good game. I was actually kind of, enjoyed playing it. Like any other game, you kind of get sucked into whatever the universe is that you're in. And before you know it, you're a fashion mogul, and you're collecting dresses or making whatever colorful outfits that you're making, and get into what you have to do to win the game, and move forward. And it was actually a pretty good game, pretty good, pretty heavy, not super heavy, but pretty solid game. Did
you learn it from the rule book or from a teach?
He taught it to us. Yeah.
The Portal's got a reputation, some say well-deserved, for their not great rule books.
Uh-huh.
Imperial Settlers, notwithstanding, Imperial Settlers was a great rule book. I had no trouble with the first edition of Imperial Settlers, or the edition I have. But I was curious if Pret-a-Porter had a decent rule book or not.
I could not say. I've never actually.
So it does look like a heavy Euro. Where would you? Is it medium weight? Where would you put it, man? It looks like
it has been so long, I can't even tell you. Okay. I would say it's probably mid-heavy. It's not. I don't remember it being super heavy.
All right, so we got Glory to Rome from Eric, Mansions of Madness, 2nd edition from BJ, and Pret-a-Porter from Patrick. Games that scared us off. Didn't play for a long time thinking you wouldn't like it, but we really liked it. Mick's got a copy of it. He says, just got our Kickstarter, and he's excited to get it to the table.
You bet.
Steve says Pret-a-Porter is a good choice. I could see people steering clear for reasons that turn out to be mistaken. Yep. We'll see what the chat crew has to say about that, Patrick. Interesting. Eric, if you weren't picking, what would you pick? If you weren't picking yourself, of course.
I think I would go with Pret-a-Porter only because I'm more interested in that game.
Okay.
That he wears women's underwear. So
only when I bother wearing it at all.
Okay.
Patrick, what about you? Which one would you go with?
Have no interest in the Cthulhu mythos.
Yeah.
Well, I love Glory to Rome. So, but I also was afraid of Mansions of Madness and was surprised by it.
Wow, Chris is on big for Glory of the Realm. Wow. That doesn't surprise me, knowing his.
Well, Chris knows if he doesn't vote for me that he's not going to get any more puns.
So he's definitely not going to vote for you.
All right, let's throw this back down there.
Thank you.
Are you guys seeing my face in the show or not?
Yeah, you're good.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately,
yes.
I don't, so that's probably a good thing there. All right, so we got the monster game. It's the fourth quarter. It's the monster game. The scores are pretty close. Steve says a big hulking beast of a game that you love. So we're looking for that. This game is going to be longer than no thanks, I'm assuming, Patrick, right?
A little bit.
Okay, good. Let's let Eric go first. Eric, this is a game I've never played, but I actually watched a demo. If I can get the picture up, let's see if I got it. Jack and I watched a demo of it at Gen Con. We only went by just based on the Secret Cabal talking about this game all the time.
Yeah.
What's that game?
Fortune and Glory. How are you dressed like that and you've never played Fortune and Glory?
I don't know anyone that owns a copy down here. Not one person.
You're just going to have to come up here and visit them.
We will have to do that.
I even have painted minis for it.
Oh, so you own the game?
I do.
Okay.
It is in a coffin box. So, it is a monster game. It's in a coffin box because that's how Flying Frog does.
Sure.
They don't do half measures. And B, it's Halloween coffin box. Got to keep working.
Got it.
Right?
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. So Fortune and Glory is basically Indiana Jones, the board game.
Cool.
And you set up a map of the world and about 100 decks of cards, and you have about 500 pieces of plastic and about 30 dice.
So this is a straight Euro then.
Oh boy, is it not that?
That sounds
Look at that cover.
This is about as Ameritrashy as it gets. And one thing that Flying Frog does, and it's super divisive, is they hire actors and put them in costumes, and then they photograph them, and that is how they get their box and card art.
Yeah.
So some people think it's really cool, and some people think it's not.
Yeah, they're pretty Ameritrashy. This is,
But yeah, it is Ameritrashy to the max. Like you could see some of the decks of cards and some of the coins, and the map is that this has got to be from the beginning of the game because I don't see any plastic on the board. But the board fills up with Nazis and mafiosos and hidden temples and treasure, and then you're marching around, and you can fly, and you could take a boat, and you could and it's great. It's just,
this is like 2016. Jack and I just wandering around, and I saw the box cover, and like you said, the box was giant, and I recognized the name from the Secret Ball podcast. And I looked at Jack. I said, "Jack, we got to check this game out." We watched them do you know how it is at Gen Con. We watched them do a round or two, or turn or two, whatever it is. I don't know enough about the game to know, but it was. I mean, I think there was cards, right? They were flipping over.
Yeah, there's anytime you're
Events or
doing
something?
something, there's like this push your luck thing and the events, and then if you fail the event, it flips over and it becomes like it goes from being like an opportunity to being a danger, and then you have hit points and you can shoot your way out of stuff, and it's really fun.
All right, so they're trying to get me to come up to PAX U, and Eric says he'll bring it, right, Eric?
I'll bring it to PAX U. I'm driving. I'll bring my whole collection if it'll get you there. I have a minivan, dude. And I know how to Tetris pack.
Steve's been working on me to try to get it. Hey, I didn't know that the Sinlaw group had Fortune and Glory, but he's no longer there. Well, Marshall, that doesn't help. That doesn't help. It would have helped. All right, so that's Fortune and Glory, a game I would like to play. But, sticking with the theme, since you're going with the Ameritrash, I said I'm also going to go with Ameritrash. It's Vital Lacerda's Ameritrash game.
Eurotrash.
Lisboa.
Shades of Blue.
Probably the most thematic Euro that is out there. I think it's one of the most thematic Euros, right, guys?
It is blue. I'll give you that.
I get the hate. So no one in my group thinks it's thematic. And maybe it's because I've read the rules a billion times, which it takes for me to get Vital's, push, pull, lever, Goldberg system into your brain, right? You got to read the rule book a million times, but if you do, you see that Vital really does have all of everything you do in the game is very thematic. But that's not what I have it. Is it a monster game? Yes. if I want to play it tomorrow, even though I've played it 3 or 4 times in the last year, I'm still going to have to read the rule book. I'll probably have to watch Paul's, how to play it. I'm going to have to go all that stuff just to get that game back in my head. It's a monster of a Euro. It takes about 2 hours and 20 minutes ish. If you have 4 players, if any of them are new, you can add more time onto that. But oh my God, I love this game because it's the same reason I liked my play of Teotihuacan last week. When you push a lever and you watch everything go click, 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 and stuff spits out on the other side, it's just so fascinating to watch. Now, my problem is that in round 1 or 2, I usually flip the lever and then nothing comes out at the end, and I have to back all my stuff up and go, I can't do that because I didn't have enough. So, yes, Lisboa, I absolutely love it. Have either one of you guys played Lisboa?
I have not. I got to do a quick side note. I've seen it played. So at BGG a couple of years ago, we were up in a big game room in one of the upper floors, and we were playing Captain Wackle Pudding at the next table. And Paul was demoing Lisboa
Paul Grogan
at the next table. Yeah.
I
did see it played.
I did very recently play Escape Plan, and I really like that one. And that one really is thematic.
Man, I should have put Captain Wackle Pudding on my list. Oh, we lost.
Chris, I'm pretty sure I could, having played Escape Plan once, I think I could teach it without having to learn it at all.
I can't teach Lisboa without having to look at the rules again. I mean,
that doesn't sound like fun to me.
Heavy games.
Oh, it's so much fun. Jeff says, when in doubt, BJ picks Lisboa. It's a running joke between me and Jeff because he comes to our game night every couple of months, and I taught Lisboa. It took us so long to teach and to play that we only got one. It's weird. It's like there's you play a round and then you play a second round, and that's the game. And we only got through the first round. So, yes, Jeff.
You're really selling me on it.
Oh, it's awesome, man. It's such a deep, crunchy, juicy Euro. I just love it. It's just dripping with crunchy juiciness. I'm telling you, it's so good. Hey, Steve reminds us, by the way, the last round, it's a tie right now because in quarter 3, I got the fun size, Eric got the full size candy, and Patrick
got the rock.
You got a rock. Yeah, sorry about that. All right, so Fortune and Glory is the monster game from Eric. Lisboa is the monster game from BJ, and we've got I'm trying to find the picture. We've got a brand new hotness. It's at the top of the BGG hotness right now, and it's got amazing artwork.
I was really hoping we were going to show Tapestry again.
All right.
Dang it, I missed it. I should have showed Tapestry again. Hold on. That would have been a good one.
Speaking of civilization games.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna pull a card that I wasn't thinking I was gonna pull. But,
look at this artwork.
I'm gonna see if I can break the tie with this one. Francis Tresham died this week, right? Francis Tresham created Civilization in the 80s. And then they modified it and created out with this game, Advanced Civilization. So in honor of the man who passed, we probably should give the points to Advanced Civilization. But
that's shameless.
That's shameless. That is really shameless. But anyway,
you're a bad man, Patrick Hillier.
I am horrible. I'm the worst. So Advanced Civilization is an amazing game. It probably takes us 8 to 10 hours to play. We would get literally.
God. And I thought Lisboa sounded dreadful.
we would set up like the third, like Black Friday, or maybe don't
play the pity card.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Like what's New Year's Day, a day like everybody has off. We would say, let's schedule it. We would schedule a day like once a year to play this. And it's a world map. And maybe somebody's in Italy and somebody's in Greece and somebody's in, whatever the country. And you start with one chit. This is the old games where you have 1 centimeter square cube that represents your starting thing. And that one, the first turn that doubles, and then the next turn those might double, and then the next turn those might double, and eventually you can combine those into a city, and then you can expand, and then you'll have wars.
Make a baby.
Yeah,
cells double,
and then periodically you will have to have wars, because the map will tighten up, and then through play you will collect goods, and those goods will start off as really cheap things like ochre and leather and hides. And in between the turns, you will have these trading phase. And you're like, oh, I'm going to trade you 3 cards. One of them, 2 of them have to be truthful, and one of them is a lie. It can be a lie or whatever. And there's these bad things that like pirates attack you or an earthquake happens or whatever. So these bad cards will get traded amongst the players. And usually you're like, you bastard, you gave me a calamity. And it's just a fun game.
What are the little cubes though on the tracks going up and down on the sides of the board?
You jerk. And the game has these amazing rounded corners on the map.
I just want to remind the chat crew that we could play Lisboa 6 times in the amount of time that Patrick's going to play.
This is so much fun. This is so much better.
Or we could play Fortune and Glory and watch the entire Indiana Jones trilogy.
You kids these days in your 1 hour Wonder Games.
Oh, I love my power.
You have no appreciation for long games.
Love those 1 hour wonders. Just love them. Power hour games. 90 minutes is the perfect game. If I can find that perfect 1 hour to 90 minute game, that is perfect. So that's Patrick's choice of Tapestry.
Did you find a picture of it? You didn't even, other than the cover, you didn't even put a picture of the game up?
That's all I got for you.
You want a picture of the one shit that you start with?
Patrick, in my defense, I was scrolling during lunch and looking for the pictures. You probably saw me post them today. Yeah, and then when I got to this one, I fell asleep.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I looked at the picture and I was like, I woke up like 30 minutes later.
You guys are selling it so well. Francis Tresham.
Okay, this is what I heard. I heard, Eric, correct me if I'm wrong. I heard chits doubling bad artwork. That's what I heard.
It's like a GMT game.
10 hours. You play while your wife is in labor.
Okay, guys. So chat crew, I'm going to be fair to the other players. Right. Basically, your choices are a roll and move game with Indiana Jones on it, or an 8 to 10 hour chit pusher, or you can play a thematic Euro about the destruction of a city and the traitorous elements that try to rebuild it. Which one are you going to pick?
That you have to relearn how to play and only use the shades of blue.
Yeah, and I am unbiased.
See, that's the beauty of this game. It starts off simple and you learn it as you're playing. You don't have to read the 10 hours of rule book before you play.
Nick says it's Alec Guinness. He's going with Alec Guinness. Oh, there's a lot of votes for Advanced Civ. Oh, Mick voted for Tapestry. I like that one too. That's a good one. So Jesse says he has no trouble with an 8 and 10 hour game. But Jesse, what about 6 games during that time? Come on. Right. Hey, Marshall says Fortune and Glory, Eric. I don't see any votes for Lisboa yet. I think I'm getting a rock.
More like
here.
Liz Noah.
Liz Noah. Yeah.
Nice.
I'll see myself out.
Oh, all right. Try the veal. He'll be here all week. All right, Steve. No, Steve, you're gonna have to make a decision. Somebody's gonna get the rock, and I'll be the person to tell Eric that he's getting the rock. So just let me know. I'll be happy to do that.
Dude, that's not a rock. That's a golden idol taken off the temple.
All right, so we're waiting on the scores to come in. All right, so I'm going to put some pressure on you guys, Patrick. If you weren't voting for yourself, who would you vote for in this last quarter?
I would play Fortune and Glory. I'm all Ameritrashy.
Killing me, Eric.
I agree. I would play Fortune and Glory. No. I mean, I feel like I would want to once in my life play Advanced Civ. Once.
Given the 3 choices, and if I couldn't pick my own one, I would definitely pick Mall Madness.
We're gonna hold you that when you come to PAX U, they have a room with the retro games that's in there.
Oh, I would spend the whole day in there.
It's a game about the end of civilization where you load a boat, Liz Noah. Oh, very nice. Oh, now we know why Chris loves those things during your show, Patrick. All right, while we're waiting on the scores, tell everybody how they can get in touch with you guys.
Oh, we're not waiting on the score. It's called.
Oh, it is here.
Enjoy your rock.
Oh, wow. The call is Fortune and Glory. Advanced Civ gets second, and BJ gets a rock.
Advanced Civ belongs in a museum.
Got a rock.
It's on my shelf right there.
All right, that's
your house is a game museum.
That is the Booooodin Bowl.
It
looks like the winner of the Booooodin Bowl is Eric. Eric's the winner of the Booooodin Bowl. Congratulations. Mr. Fantasy Football with the win. Patrick second place. Yeah, nice. The Marshmallow Man. Marshmallow Man with the win. Patrick was second place, and I got third. But at least I made it a go of it. And thank you, Mick. He does want to play Lisboa. So hopefully I was selling it.
Nice.
And
how do you get a hold of us?
That is brought to us by our friends at Game Toppers LLC. Hey, Patrick, make your game night a showstopper when you play on a Game Topper.
You bet.
All right, tell us what's next for Patrick and Eric.
We don't know. We don't even have our next show planned. What are we talking about, Eric? Do we have a plan?
Did the expansion one go out?
Yeah, that went out.
Well,
that went out Sunday.
I did listen to the expansion one. You guys had a lot of talk on what is needed or what's not, and whether the bloat is pretty bad. Hey guys, check that one out. It's a good episode on expansions.
Yeah,
find out if you like bloated games or not. The bloat. It's all about the bloat.
Booooodin gives me bloat.
Booooodin does not give you bloat. All right.
I feel like we had an idea for another episode too. It's not like we're not going to do one. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
So how can people reach you guys?
Well, we post all our shows on Punchboard Media. So there's a page for that where we both also put our written content, and then I'm on Twitter at Over the Hillier.
And I am on Twitter at Eric Busciemi. And the Patrick and Eric show is also on the What Did You Play This Week podcast feed, wherever it is that you listen to podcasts.
Yep. I think that's everything.
And BJ is
frozen again. And we both can be found next at Granite Game Summit next March.
Yes, unless you're going to come up for a PAX EU.
Probably not.
All right, board gamers, that's it for another episode of Gumbo Live. I want to thank my guests, Patrick and Eric, in the morning. Make sure to like our Facebook page, facebook.com/BoardGameGumbo. It helps us to get out the word out of all of our upcoming shows, including next week's show, assuming she gets over the post-S and crud. Suzanne Sheldon from the Dice Tower will be our guest next week on the show. I'm BJ from Board Game Gumbo. And until next time, Patrick and Eric, laissez le bon temps rouler.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Patrick and Eric in the
evening.